Hello friends, this video on equilibrium part 18 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more PF from exam. Before watching the video, please make sure that you have watched all the previous parts. As I have told, the whole point of understanding the equilibrium was to tame the equilibrium, right? You want to tame the equilibrium so that we can use the concepts to get the maximum result. So if you see, main goal for all the chemical synthesis that happens in most of the factory is to maximize the conversion of reactant to product. You must have used the heard of term efficiency, which is always never hardly 100%, right? So when you do some chemical reaction, you find that the reactants reach equilibrium and you don't get much product. One of the good examples is Haber process. We'll discuss about this process where you'll see that all the principles of equilibrium is used here. So we'll first try to understand all the factors that impact equilibrium, and then we'll take one or two examples where we'll see that in industry how this knowledge of equilibrium, all the factors of that affect the equilibrium, is used to produce maximum result, to produce maximum products. We'll see that. Also note that if my system is in equilibrium and if I change something, example, if I change the concentration of reactant in the product, then the system will no longer be in equilibrium. And again, the reaction will take place in some direction. We don't know. So we don't know usually which direction. We'll talk about the principles or the laws which talk about the direction it will flow. The reaction will happen in some direction. We can find with QC and KC, we can find direction at least. It will happen in some direction. Let's assume we don't know that also. It will happen in some direction until the equilibrium is reached, right? That's how the process is. So the system is in equilibrium, you disturb it, and after some time again, the system will go to equilibrium. So in order to decide what course of reaction is taken, or if the system is in equilibrium, you disturb it, what will happen to the system, which direction it will flow, how it will flow, those kind of stuffs. There is a principle given by Chatelier. Chatelier gave a principle called Chatelier principle, and this principle is helpful in understanding how a system will behave if one of the parameters is changed, between pressure, volume, temperature, concentration. So we'll discuss about Chatelier principle. So what is Chatelier principle? It's a very small, very simple principle actually, but it has a lot of impact. It says that if a system is in equilibrium, for example, I have a system and it's in equilibrium where A plus B is my reactant, C and D is a product. If I change any of the factors that determine equilibrium, I'll talk about the factors which determine equilibrium. For example, pressure, temperature, volume. They are the factors which determine the equilibrium. But something like catalyst, it doesn't determine the equilibrium. It doesn't matter which catalyst you're adding, the equilibrium won't be impacted. So there are some factors which determine the equilibrium. If you change any of those factors, the system will react in such a way so that it will counteract the effect of the change. It will minimize the effect of the change. It will revert back the change. For example, if there's a guy and you took some 10 rupees from him, the guy will do something to get the 10 rupees back. So everything is in an equilibrium, right? So for example, someone gets more stressed for the exam, the guy will do something, maybe some yoga or some dance to de-stress himself, because the student always wants to be stress-free. Similarly, the system wants to be in equilibrium, and if there are some factors which determine the equilibrium actually of the system, if that is changed, the system will behave in such a way that it will counteract the change. And this is applicable only in the case of equilibrium. It is applicable to physical and chemical equilibrium both, but only in the case of equilibrium. For example, you can see this weight balance, right? It says like this. So if, for example, in this case, if you add more products, what will happen is the product concentration is more. So what it will do is the reaction will happen now, and more of C and D will be formed, and this A will be reduced. So in that case, if you see, the system will somehow be balanced again. So, or if you, let's suppose, pump in more and more and more D's, what will happen is the system will move in this direction, and the reaction will happen in this direction, and more A and B will come up to counter impact the chain, because it says that there has to be a balanced number of moles of A, B and C and D. So if somebody is disturbing that, the Chatelier principle talks about how this system behaves such that it will counteract the effect of the change. Right? For example, if you add more reactant here, more reactant, so what will happen is, according to Lee-Chatelier principle, this reactant will react, some of this reactant will react and form product. Some, not all. So now if you see, if you added, let's suppose 5 reactant or 6 reactant, out of that 3 reactant will go and form product, and 3 will remain like that. So it will see there are 3 more reactant, 3 more product. So kind of system is balanced, right? Now if you add more, let's suppose products, what will happen is, let's suppose I have added 8 products, 8 moles. So now this product will react in this direction and create some reactants. Not all, but some of them. With this. So with that, what will happen is, these products which got reacted will be exhausted from here, and we'll have 4 products here also which got reacted, exhausted. So somehow it will try to maintain the equilibrium, right? You got the logic. So you add something more here, it will react so that things are balanced. You get more product here. If you add something here, it will react and it will form something here. Thank you. Visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thanks once again.